Good evening. Welcome to the White House. I'm glad you decided to tune in tonight to kick off summer 2020 with me and some friends of mine. And believe it or not, I just met some of them. But we're glad you're here with us tonight. And we want you just to relax, because what we want to do today is to give you about 30 minutes of a time just to relax and forget about what we're going through. We just want to listen to some good music and sing some good vibe and hopefully let you reminisce a little bit. Alright? So, I know I got cameras, I'm going on everywhere. So I'm going to be looking at you here, there, and everywhere, okay? So be patient with us. And let's have a good time. Well, our first song is by a favorite artist of mine. Everybody calls her Sade. But I'm not going to do a song that everybody does with Sade. You know, Smooth Operator, Paradise, Cherish the Day. No. I'm going to do a song that was always one of my favorites that I used to listen to in my car, especially during the summer. I call this my summer song, because it has a really nice groove to it. So we're going to start out tonight with a song by Sade. And the name of the song is I Couldn't Love You More. If time was running out, I couldn't love you more. Oh, right now, baby. La 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 la. Oh, right now, baby. Take me by the hand. Be my darling. Be the one. I wouldn't want to live around without you. Think about being on the highway, thinking about those clear skies, thinking about this summer coming up, beginning this weekend. Thinking about being with your lady, or your lady. Think about how that feels. Right now, baby. Right now, baby. All right now. Couldn't love you more, baby. Couldn't love you more, baby. Couldn't love you more, darling. Oh, right now, baby. Right now, baby. Yes, couldn't love you more. Okay, yeah. I know who my baby is, so couldn't love you more. Right. Okay, now the next song we're going to do. Now this song is dedicated to my son. He's probably wondering, really, Dad, what is this all about? My son tells me that, Dad, you have, every time you explain anything really big in your life, there's always a song to go with it. I said, yes, son, that was my generation. When you think about your music and you think about, yeah, I remember when I was in 7th grade, I heard this song, and I remember when I graduated from high school, and they were playing this song. Well, son, I'm going to do it again. My son is 35 years old, and he was born December 6th, 1984. And I remember that summer before he was born. I was born at the University of Tennessee, and I ran out of money, and he was going to be here in a few months. And so I got a job at Six Flags in Atlanta, and I was in a barbershop quartet. Yeah, a barbershop quartet, but it paid well. And so there I was walking around the park, singing barbershop music. And, I stayed on the Georgia Tech campus in the Capitol Secret House. And believe me, it was really weird. To this day, I have not had another ramen noodle, and that's been 35 years. Because that's all I could afford was ramen noodles, and we also had macaroni and cheese. We had a lot of that, and tuna fish. Macaroni and cheese, tuna fish, and ramen noodles. Because that's all I could afford. But a song came out that summer by Richard Smallwood, and the name of the song was He Won't Leave You. And the song talked about, you think that life, is getting really bad, but don't worry, because push come to shove, He won't leave you. And that's the way God is. But years later, I wrote a song that says, wherever I go, no matter where I go, God's there. One thought on my mind. And that is, no matter what I go through, God's there. And that's what I want to say to you today. I know we're going through a lot of frustration in different areas for different reasons. But regardless, He is there wherever you go. So, listen to my son. I'm going to put wherever I go with He won't leave you. Wherever I go, one stays on my mind. It's sure nice to know He is there all the time. Wherever I go, one thought stays on my mind. It's sure nice to know God's there. I feel in my soul, not alone with you to guide. Lord, take full control, make your will be my own. When you turn my night into day, makes me say, it's sure nice to know Wherever I go, say you for me. Show me that. You know that God won't leave you. Wherever I go, He won't leave me alone. No matter the situation, said He won't leave. He won't leave me alone. Hallelujah. He won't leave you no matter where you go. So, I promise you I'm not going to keep you more than 30 minutes. So we're not going to go into a church service. I got a feeling on that song. All right. Okay. Well, the next song I'm going to do, I will tell you. When I think about, this being titled RLW and New Beginning, I'm hoping that as we go through the songs that you'll understand what this evolution is all about, what this new beginning is all about. This year has been a very different year for everyone, and what you're seeing up here, what's seen on the slideshow, was some very special folks of mine, and we're going to talk about those folks in a few minutes. But this year's taught me that if God is using you in any way, any talent that you have, you need to be making sure that you utilize that talent, and that you can't be afraid, that you need to go and do what He's called you to do. And sometimes we have this attitude that, well, I'm not reaching the thousands, the millions. No, if you reach and impact one life, you're doing His will. And so my wife has been on me about these kind of things for a while, and then I've had some other friends on me about this as well. And so I decided I'm going to do this tonight because I wanted to minister and to spend some time with my friends and my family, because I have family here in the borough and I have friends and family back home in Johnson City. And so the next song I selected was purposely because it's a little difficult, but it's a great jazz song, and I decided I'm going to give it a try. So we will see, because this song is a Joe Sample song. Anyone who knows jazz knows how great Joe Sample is. And then there's one of these great female vocalists that I heard sing this song, Lala Hathaway. You know Lala, you know her dad. So, but I'm going to give this song a try anyhow, and we're going to see how this goes. The name of this song is One Day I'll Fly Away. Now, it's not One Day I'll Fly Away of Glory. So if my wife tries to do that, don't do that. No, it's not. That's not what it's like. When love is gone, still you made your mark here in my heart. One day I'll fly away, leave your love to yesterday. What more can your love do for me? When will love be true with me? I follow the night, carrying the light. When will I begin my life again? One day I'll fly away, leave your love to yesterday. What more can your love do for me? When will love be through with me? I live life from dream to dream and dread the day that dreams. one day I'll fly away. Let's give it up for these fellas back here, out there in internet land, virtual land. I hope that you're enjoying yourself so far. Hope that you are sitting next to someone you really care about. You know, social distance in your house, okay? But I hope that you are really having a good time tonight. I'm just enjoying this. I love live music, and I will say, I guess I could have taken the easy way out, and that would have been just simply to grab some tracks and to sing by myself. All by myself. But no. I wanted to play with some folks that I've always enjoyed playing with and I always wanted to play with. And so I'm going to take a moment to tell you just a little bit about that. Okay? Hold on. I want to show you something. This is the new recording by a friend of mine named Marcus Finney. And Marcus is one of the best, any genre, jazz, country, pop, soul, blah, 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 blah. He can play anything. And I want you to give it up for Mr. Marcus back there in virtual land. Okay, clap, 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 clap. All right. Now, I want to tell you, Marcus is a truly an amazing musician and very humble. When Karen and I moved to Kentucky 7 years ago, can you believe it was 7 years ago, May the 13th? And that summer, I love live music, and I was hoping that being closer to Middle Tennessee, I would get a chance to hear some jazz. So one day I was on Googling, and I got to the jazz workshop page. And they just had people on giving tweets on Twitter. And Marcus puts his tweet on there, and he says that, I'm feeling a little Donna Summer today. And of course he didn't know, but anyone who knows me back home knows that I had a Donna Summer poster in my bedroom growing up. I was a huge Donna Summer fan. Yes, I was, before Whitney. And so Donna Summer and Whitney were my ladies. And so when I heard that, I told my wife, I said, hey, he likes Donna Summer. He's probably not too bad at all. And so I just sort of hit him up and said, I just moved to the area. I like to hear some jazz music. And he said, this is going to be going on such and such day. And Karen and myself went over and checked it out. And there started a friendship with Marcus 7 years ago, and where he was just nice enough to answer a tweet that I had on there online. And I've heard him perform several times, and he's amazing. This new live recording, I was right there. It was a really amazing live recording. I got to sit in with headphones. I never listened to a live recording with headphones. And it was amazing. And so when I decided to do this, 3 weeks ago. Yeah, 3 weeks. I wanted Marcus to play, and I said, Karen, I'm not going to ask him to play. He's going to play with me. And she's like, ask him. And I remember asking him if he would play. I kept thinking, he's going to turn me down. But I appreciate you, Marcus. I appreciate you being willing to be here in my house with me today to play. And then another dear brother of mine, Octavius Molzak. Now, I've known him for several years. I knew him before he knew me because I actually met his brother Lorelco first 7 years ago when I moved to Kentucky. We are SunTrust customers, and, well, they've changed their name. But anyhow, at the time, there were no SunTrust in Kentucky, so I would have to drive to Springfield weekly during that time to work on my mortgage or deposit, whatever I had to do. So his brother used to work in SunTrust. And we got to talking about music one day, and he told me about his band, and he let me hear some of his recordings, and, he was slamming. And then when we moved to Murfreesboro, I started going to First Baptist, giving up for my friends and family at First Baptist. He was there playing, and I walked up to him one day and said, I know you. He's like, yeah, right. And I started telling him things. He's like, oh boy, he does know me. But I got a chance to, he played for me at a jazz club a few years ago. I did a Christmas set and he played it. So I've always enjoyed working with him because he is a professional. I love professionals. And they brought some friends along with him. And just to let you know, I was determined we were going to start on time. I missed it by a minute. Yes, I know. But so I didn't get a chance to formally get to know my new friends here tonight. So I'm going to ask Marcus and Latavius if you would introduce my two new friends here tonight. Would you please?
How's it going, world? The world of Robert White. Right here we have Lauren Clark, also known as Lauren Clark. We also have the back on he's on the bass, by the way. On the back, right here we have Cord Mark, blessing us with the saxophone. Of course, Mark is Finney. I'm Latavius Mozak. Wonderful wife. He didn't ask me to do all this. Karen and Jamara. Thank you, world.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. All right. The next song we're going to do is my favorite jazz band is Incognito. They're from London. And my friend Uriah, I hope Uriah's listening. If not, I want to give Rollo, that's what we call him, Rollo, credit. Because when he was a student at Tennessee State University, he called me one day. He said, you got to hear this new group, or this group I've been listening to. And he sent me their, on cassette way back then, he sent me their Positivity CD recording. It has songs like Deep Water, if you remember Deep Water, and so many other songs. Well, they recorded a song back in 2012 when I was really going through that time when I was considering what I was going to do with my career. And when the Lord started showing me that, you're going to be somewhere else. Well, they did this song. The name of the song is Goodbye to Yesterday. And it talks a lot about, it's time for change. And you may be going through something like that right now yourself. God may be letting you know it's time for him to do a shift in your life, a change, an atmosphere, a change in environment. Well, he did for me back in 2012, 2013. And I had to say goodbye to yesterday. And I had to go on forward and see what God had for me. And it's been great. I have my family down here in the borough. I have family in Russellville, Kentucky. And always my family in Johnson City. So this song says goodbye to yesterday. 1, 2, 3. All right, out there, virtual land, put my hands make some changes down all over you. Try to wrap my head around it, but still it's around it. I walk and I can see it through. I'm on me, so keep away. What I find, if I just leave it all behind, I can dream it over how it be. About the places and the faces I see. It's big about myself. I know there's no one else to do what's really up to me. It's never too late to change the way. Right here, right now, in the world, I'm gonna turn my world around. I can't stop what I started. My feet on follow my way, stay upon me. So can't touch me. But I can find it was leaving all yesterday. That's right. That's what you have to do sometimes. You have to be willing to let things go. As my friend Dr. Sarone Foster, she's listening in tonight, she taught me years ago, there are times when there are necessary endings, when God sends you in a different direction. So don't be afraid. All right. Well, the next song I'm going to do, I've rehearsed this song over and over and over and over. Because this song sort of is the theme of what tonight is all about. Go ahead and go on into it. The song talks about stopping the presses. Now, those who are tomorrow's age, they probably wonder, what does stop the presses mean? Well, if you're around my age, you remember there used to be something called newspapers. And back in the day, if there was breaking news, you know, nowadays breaking news is all over TV, really fast, on your phone, wherever. But back then, stop the presses mean this is stop. Something happened. Let's take notice. That's what it meant then, right? Well, I heard this song last fall, and the song said, it said, stop the presses, smell the coffee, hear the music. Why don't you enjoy the rain? And then it said, stop the presses, see the flowers, live the moment, because we're not here forever. And 2020 taught me that lesson. The slideshow that you saw earlier 4 people who were very significant and important in my life. I'll start with Dr. C.S. Charlton, who was my pastor back home in Johnson City for 40 years. And in January, God took him on to heaven. And, you know, I've known him since I was 13. And you never think it ends. Because, you know, we think we're going to be here forever, but we're not here forever. And he taught me so much of what it means to be a servant leader and a godly man. And then there was another matriarch of my family, Miss Ruby. She served her community. She truly wanted to help folks. And she has such a heart of love and a heart of mercy. And she always could see what's great about people, even when no one else could see. And she utilized every ounce of her life until God took her on. And then there's another friend of mine that I did my first IG Live event about a few weeks ago, Clyde Cook Jr. And Clyde was the first member of my Brotherly Love family. For those who don't know, I used to have a band. I had a band for 15 years by the name of Brotherly Love, and we have 4 recordings. And Clyde was the keyboardist and co-songwriter with myself on our 3rd release, You Ought to Know. And Clyde passed away this past January. And it was such a surprise. And Clyde's the type of person, he's so introverted and so laid back. You never really know what a great person he was and how much he impacted so many lives. Because to this day, I still hear people talking about the songs from that release that he had co-wrote, and his imprint is all over every song on the CD. And Clyde's the type of person that if no one would bring it to anyone's attention, you'd never know. And so Clyde, I miss you, man. He had the biggest hands, you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it. And then last, but definitely not least, is a classmate of mine who passed away a few months ago, Willie Benson. Now, Willie and I were the same age. We went to school from kindergarten all the way up to high school. We did so many things together. We both played tennis back when black folk laughed at you for playing tennis. Willie was an excellent musician. But what I remember about Willie is that when Willie left Johnson City and went to Cleveland, and we started our band, see, when we started our band, there was no Kirk Franklin or anything like that where people accept contemporary music. People didn't really accept Brotherly Love at first. And so Willie was one of the first folks who said, I believe in what you're doing. So why don't you come to Cleveland State and do a concert? Let's do a workshop. Let's get you some exposure. So I'll never forget what Willie did for me. And I wanted to take this time out to say thank you to Willie. So to Red, to Ruby, to Clyde, and to Willie, I love you all. This song is for you. Now, when we get to the interlude of this song, if you're sitting there with your spouse, I want you to hold their hand. I want you to tell them how much you love them. If you're sitting in the room with your brother, or your sister, or your cousin, I want you to tell them how much you love them, because we're not here forever. We think that, but we're not here forever. Okay? So I want you to think. Live the moment. Living. 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 Baby, baby, baby. So it's time to sleep. Let's go out, get crazy. Like the shore was so sweet. Pictures can't get faded if you don't express yourself. Don't let yourself get jaded. We don't need a little help. Stop the present. Smell the coffee. Hear the music. Come enjoy the rain. Stop the present. See the flowers. Live a moment. is so, so deep. It's so to your advantage. Make your life more complete. Stop the presence. Smell the coffee. Hear the music. Come enjoy the rain. Stop the presence. See the flowers. Live the moment. 'Cause we ain't here forever. Time to rest when it's over. So get on out, let it out, scream and shout, let it out when it's over. So get on out, let it out, 'cause we ain't here forever. Yeah. Call out the name of your loved one. So get on out, let it out, scream and shout, let it out, let it go by. So get on out, let it out, 'cause we ain't here forever. Sometimes you think, we ain't here forever. We ain't here forever. Smell the coffee. Hear the music. Come enjoy the rain. See the flowers. Live the moment. Yes. I love you. All right. The last song we're going to do tonight is a song that I heard about 6 months ago. It's been out for a couple of years, but I heard it. I was playing some music, and now when we talk about Stop the Presses, I want you to know, I want to challenge you to do something that you haven't done. And so I told my wife, now those back home are going to start laughing at me, but I told my wife that when all this clears up, we're going to go dancing. I've never gone dancing with my wife. We've been married for 33 years. I don't dance, but well, let's put it this way. I have rhythm, and I even won a ballroom dancing contest a few years ago, didn't I, honey? See, I learned how to do the cha-cha and the West Coast swing. But I'm still chicken to go out in public and dance. But stop the presses. We ain't here forever. So her and I, we're going to go dancing when this all clears up because my wife can dance. All right? But the last song we're going to do, the name of the song is Your Love, and it's by a young man named Tim Bowman Jr. And I heard this song, and I fell in love with it because it talks about your love. It makes me want to dance. Now, you can dance to the Lord, believe me. Ask the folks at First Baptist, I don't mind. I'll dance in a second. And so when you think about what God has done for you and His goodness and His mercy, it makes you want to dance. Okay? So if you're at home right now, go ahead and get up off your feet. We're going to drive this song some, have some fun with this song, okay? Your Love. I woke up this morning, smile on my face. I realized I was covered by His grace. That's when I knew that I was truly loved. Yes, I'm loved. I was talking to my friend just the other day, facing something, but it would be okay. I realized, that I am truly loved. Yes, I'm loved. You wrapped your arms around me. You let me feel your touch. That's why I'm in love with you. I just want to say that your love, it makes me go down. It makes me go down. It makes me go down. See, time after time, I thought I knew what love really was, but see now I found you, and I realize, that I am truly loved. I really love, not this feeling, that what we had was that the test of time. I knew it last, because I realized, that I am truly loved. Yes, I'm loved. You got your arm around me. You let me feel touch. That's why I'm in love with you. Okay, everybody out there, we're gonna go through one more time. Pick apart, pick apart, here we go. Come on now. Yeah, here we go. You go like this. It makes me wanna Thank you. Talk to you later. God bless. Push that in now, Mark. You in the double F? Are we still on? We're still on. Until Akila pushes the in now button. Up the top to the right. See where it says, shows it live? Okay. Push that.